Hi everyone, welcome back to Code Your Own Adventure with Python. My name is Andrea and I'm a Digital Services Librarian at Richmond Public Library. This week we're going to put everything together and finally code our adventure game using Trinket. So we're going to switch back to Trinket for this one. If you want to have your mind map open, that'll be really helpful for writing out your printed parts of your game. And let's get started. Okay, so I am back to Trinket here, and all I'm going to do is go to my drop down and open a new Trinket in Python. All right, so I'm going to go over a couple concepts with you in the basic code, and then I will add a couple other things in once we are finished that. So the first things we're going to learn about are comments, the print function, the input function, and conditionals. All right, let's start with comments. So to put a comment into your code, you're just going to use the pound key or hashtag, depending on what you're more comfortable with. And you can see this is going to come up as green typing. So this won't show up in our code when we visualize it. But it does help you remember what a line of code does. So if I go on to the next line and I say print, and I run my code, as you can see, we don't get the comment on this side, we just get what we printed. All right, so let's start our game. All right, and I just have my Twine page open on the right here, so I can click over if I ever need to look at it. So for our text-based adventure, we want to make sure that all of the functions have the print to begin with. So we need to type print and then double brackets and double quotation marks. You can use the single or double quotation marks, it's up to you, but I'm just going to use double. Right. And you also want to make sure that you move your cursor to the end of the line before you hit enter to go to the next one, because Trinket will automatically create those for you. If you don't do that, then your quotation and bracket will go on to the next line. So we want to set this up so we can have a player input instruction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say A, you go up onto the porch. And B, you run home. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use A and B as potential inputs. So my answer, so I'll just write ands, is going to equal raw input what do you do? So what this is going to do is it's actually going to cause us to get a input box where the player will be able to input if they want to do A or B. And because we have two options here, we're going to say if our answer, and just make sure you use the double equal signs here, equals A, and your colon at the end. I'm going to print, you walk up to the front of the house. And just so we get all of our options here, I'm going to say else, and you might remember this from when we were doing our rock, paper, scissors game. If you have more than 2 answers, you can use the elif key, but I'm going to use else because there's only 2 options here. I'm going to print. Oh, actually what you can do is you can say elif, and then we can have it so if someone inputs an answer that we weren't prepared for, we can have our game not understand the input. All right, and else. This would be anything that we didn't plan for, so if someone puts in a weird answer, they still get an outcome. Alright, so those will be all of our options. Now, since B or else doesn't continue the game, I'm now going to go into our first option, and I'm going to put another chance to put some more inputs in. And we're going to have this be answer again. And you can also just put input. You don't need to put the raw underscore in front of it. So that's what I'm going to do this time. What do you do? So we have A, push the door harder, or B, look for another way in. So if our answer equals A, we'll have it. So this is another one of our endings. And then we'll have another elif. And we'll also put in that else again, just in case we get an answer that we weren't prepared for. All right, so we're going to put in 2 more levels. So we're going to go back into our B answer and continue from there. And what you can do is you can also put in a comment so you can keep track of where you are in the game. And because we want this to be a continued level, we also have some options here. So from here, you can see 2 doorways. So we have 3 options here. Do you explore? And what I'm doing here is I'm just putting the options in capital letters to make it a little bit more clear what your options are. All right, so if the answer equals the hall, oh, forgot my colon. And our other option was going into the dining room. And here we have a chandelier falling on our heads. And that'll be another one of our endings. And another one of our endings. And finally, our else. All right, so since our next level is going to be the hall, just make a note of that. And for this one, we're going to have a yes or no question. Do you want to go upstairs and investigate the strange creeping noise? And if yes, and we're going to have this be another one of our endings where a ghost scares us out of the house. And if we choose to ignore the creaking, you decide not to do that. Alright, so this is our winning option. We go into the hall and don't go upstairs, and we win the game. Alright, so let's play that through. If there's any mistakes, it'll let me know. Let's take a look. Oh, so I just forgot to put the double equal sign on a few of these. And that's the nice thing about this trinket, it'll show you where all your mistakes are and you can correct those. So I'm going to say A, B, hall, no, and I win the game. Alright, so that is the super basic code here, but I'm going to also add in a couple other things. So the next level is I'm going to put in some lists, an exit code, and the while conditional. So I'm going to run this again, and I'm just going to show you so our game now stops. And that is perfect. If you wanted to make absolutely sure that it did and there wasn't any weird starting of the game, what you could do is you could add in a list at the beginning. And this is going to be like when we made our rock, paper, scissors game. So our first one is going to be choice, and that's going to be our A, B. So the square bracket, A, and B. And we also had our room selection. Rooms. That's the stay. Hall. And dining room. And then our last one was yes or no. Stick an equal sign in here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add in a couple more lines of code. So what we're going to say is if your answer isn't in choice, it's actually going to loop back up to your first option. So instead of just getting the option, I didn't understand that, you'd have an option to re-input an answer so the game doesn't just end. So what I'm going to do is and I'm also going to use the while. So what this is going to do is it'll loop back up to the start of this code. And I'll show you what I mean. So we just have to indent these now. As I said, you don't have to do this. So what we're going to see happen here is I'm going to put another random thing in. And you can see it's always going to loop back to that question until I put something in that will answer the input question the way that we want it to. And again, this is totally up to you. It just makes it so when someone puts in an option that you didn't plan for, they don't have to constantly restart the game. And they'll just be looped back up. And you can add that in to every level of your code if you like. Just requires a little bit of indenting. Because I did this after we did the original code, it does take a little bit more work. If you know you want to do it right off the bat, it's probably a little bit faster. can do is you can add exit code to your game. So after you have an ending, you can put in an exit code if you'd like. This just completely stops the game from running, or your code from running. It isn't too necessary here, but I'll just show you how to do it. So what I'll do is I'll just hit enter here and say exit with 2 brackets, and that will completely end the code. All right, so now I'm going to add a title to mine. So mine's called The Creepy Mansion, and I'm going to save it. So since this is now saved into my account, I can copy the link. Oh, that's just copying it. So what I'll do here is I'll share it. So if you want to share this game with your friends or family so they can play along with you, you can hit the email. You can just send them a link over instant messaging. You can publish it, and that just means that if someone Googled it, they'd be able to find it, which is kind of fun and cool. You can see that you get views and remixes and interactions, so if someone decided to download it and remix it or ended up playing it, you would be able to see that. You can just share the link here. If you want to share your link with us, you can definitely send us an email. We would love to see your final creations. You can find our contact information on our website. You can also send us a message on Facebook if you want to share your final projects with us. And that is it for Python coding, Code Your Own Adventure with Python. If you enjoyed this, my colleague James is going to be running a Code Your Own Adventure program similar to this. It's called Interactive Storytelling, and it's going to be on Inkle, and it's actually going to be starting next week. So definitely check that out if you enjoyed this. And thank you for joining me for this program. I hope to see you soon. Bye.